Hello everyone, welcome to Swami Shantipuri. In this video, we're going to discuss about the implication of budget 2023-24 on taxation, one of the most important sectors in the economy, IT and BPM sector, and also we're going to discuss about the announcement regarding the development related to changes in IT and technological infrastructure of this country that will directly pertain to the promotion of digital India, skill India, self-reliance, and also the overall technological efficiency of the country. Talking about this budget was very important for the current government, being the last full year budget of the current tenure before 2024 Lok Sabha election. And in February 2024, the interim budget would be announced again by the current government. And only after the election result, the party forming the new government would present the new budget for the next period. So this budget had a lot of expectation and aspiration. So let's see how the budget actually performed and what opportunities and areas this budget has covered. So we are going to have this video divided into three parts. First, we're going to talk about hits and misses of taxation. Second, we're going to talk about the hits and misses of IT and BPM sector. And third, we're going to talk about the announcement regarding the changes in IT infrastructure, technological infrastructure, and also what are the upcoming opportunities for us as youths. Okay, so let us come to taxation. First, hits. So current budget has been given a wheaty progressive taxation retouch. So obviously Indians have been demanding some changes in the deduction limit, exemption, rebates, in order to have relief and concession in overall tax liabilities. With respect to tackling hiking inflation rate and post-pandemic crisis. But government intention was to increase the overall efficiency and collect much more revenue from the government by improving the overall system in order to restrict tax evasion, in order to have transparency and efficiency in the system. So it wanted to simplify the structure. In earlier budget, you have seen that faceless assessment scheme was introduced. So right now also the expectation was to provide a simplified structure of tax compliance, bring up transparency to expect better tax revenue growth by 12% from 20.8 lakh crore to 23.3 lakh crore. Coming to the first point, new tax regime that was introduced in 2020 in the name of Section 115 BAC. That time it was very much unattractive because very less benefits and disadvantages due to disallowed exemptions and deductions. But right now it has got a transformation. Actually, the current government's intention is to have a uniform tax regime throughout this country for everyone. Same tax regime would continue. So in order to have those aspirations fulfilled, it has come up with reconstruction of the new tax regime by lowering the number of slabs, changing the tax rates. Up to 3 lakh there is 0% tax. Up to 7 lakhs rebate has been provided. That means up to 7 lakhs you have to pay zero tax, and lower surcharge of 25% when income is greater than 5 crore. All these changes, massive changes, have been added in the new tax regimes. But there are some limitation and shortcomings too that we're going to cover in the latter part, in the misses part of the video. Talking about the second point, for senior citizen, it is a good news because the deposit limit has been doubled from 15 lakhs to 30 lakhs in senior citizen savings scheme. Talking about the presumptive taxation, the scope has been raised up to 3 crore from 2 crore to facilitate the small businessmen. In order to boost Make in India, Section 115 BAV was introduced to provide concessional tax rate to new manufacturing entities, but the cooperative societies were not included in that list. Right now, the cooperative societies are also included in that list. Even startups and MSME sector has got extended period of benefits right now. This is not a new thing. Every year with the new budget, the period get extended. The main focus or the prime focus is to provide benefits to the MSME sector and startup because they are the structural and functional component of the new India. Talking about the custom changes, custom measures towards priorities of government to promote mobility, sustainability, green energy, they have been taken into consideration. Some specified electronic goods have been, the custom duties on those products have been reduced, and eventually these items will get cheaper. Tax on cigarettes, in order to reduce their negative externality in the environment, the tax rate on cigarettes has been increased by 16%, which assured increase in revenue as demand is inelastic in this segment. So if you're invested in companies like ITC, whose major portion of revenue is being contributed by cigarettes, you don't have to worry about this so much because the market is inelastic and the companies can easily transfer the burden into customers. And as the market is inelastic, as I've said, the customers would be happily accepting that burden. Talking about niches, if we talk about the niches, obviously the new tax regimes are coming up with shortcomings and limitations pertaining to the thrift, the benefit of thrift, by disincentivizing the savings. Earlier, people used to have two benefits by being in the old tax regime. First, that they used to have a tax saving by investing into the tax saving instruments, and secondly, they used to have their future secure due to the benefit of the investment, whatever income used to get accrued. Okay, right now there will be disinterest into traditional saving instruments. So, taxpayer claiming deduction and exemptions of more than 2.5 lakh would be required to pay more tax than in old regime. So, obviously, if you do the calculation, you can see that if your deduction and exemptions that you are claiming right now is more than 2.5 lakh, if you compare with the new tax regime calculation, you would be required to pay much more tax than the old regime. Okay, now as per CEO of clear tax, salaried taxpayer will have to plan and inform earlier, otherwise employer will start deducting TDS as per new regime, because the new tax regime would likely to come, and government want to promote this, so employers would actually consider deducting the TDS as per the new tax regime. So salary taxpayer would have to take initiative earlier in order to inform their employers whether they would remain in the old tax regime or they would convert them into the new tax regime or not. Talking about the important exemption under section 1010D, it has been kept with an aggregate limit of 5 lakhs. So it is a derogatory thing, I think, because the demand for insurance, life insurance, would reduce. If I talk about section 1010D, whatever income you would get, you would receive from the life insurance, be it the sum or any accrued benefit with regards to that insurance, life insurance that you have taken, everything used to get exempted. But from now onwards, from 1st April 2023, if you purchase any life insurance scheme, if your aggregate limit uh, of premium is 5 lakh, more than 5 lakh, then this exemption won't be provided. Okay, so this can be a setback in the short run. TCS means tax collected on source on foreign remittances towards overseas tour and foreign investments have been raised to 20%. So it can be criticized with respect to loss of opportunity cost until refund. That means until refund you have to, suppose 1 crore you are remitting, that means 20 lakhs rupees you have to block until you get the refund of that. So mostly the LRS route, overseas investment, will be getting affected due to this decision. So this is a disappointment if you are having the business with respect to this. If you are remitting money, so you have to have your money blocked until you get the refund. So 20% of that money is actually huge amount of money, and the opportunity cost with respect to that is obviously huge. Taxpayers under old scheme got disappointed due to no incentive to them, even often criticized deduction limits of ATC, ATD had no cognizance with inflation hitting hard. So this is something that you have to consider. The current budget, this budget had not talked about anything about old tax regime. Rather, it had actually vouched the new tax regime and its benefits. So sorry to say, for old tax regime people, you have nothing uh, to cherish this time. If I conclude, the tax reform in this budget was mainly to popularize the new tax regime with impetus to infrastructure and employment, but it failed to address the short-term demand of lower and middle class income group as criticized by the opposition. So opposition said that yeah, this budget was mainly futuristic. It talked about mainly the rich class people, and it talked about the government's aspiration to come up with new tax regime, but it had not talked about how the lower or middle class income group people, how they will tackle the inflation or the economic crisis that may come up in the future years. Now, talking about the IT, information technology and BPM sector, the IT sector and business process management sector accounts for 9.35 percent of the Indian GDP and 56% of global outsourcing market, which is projected to reach US dollar 19.93 billion by 2025. In November 21, Mr. Piyush Goyal, Minister of Commerce and Industry, Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution and Textile, praised that the Indian IT sector for its extraordinary competitive strength, which was free of the government interference. He also emphasized that the service exports from India has a potential reach of US dollar 1 trillion by 2030. The current budget has focused on the bull's eye. So what are the hits? Basically, we are going to see only hits in this sector because the government is very much concerned about improving the IT and BPM sector, and it always talked about improving the IT and overall technological infrastructure. So obviously, we're going to see most hits. Okay, in this budget. The budget for 2023-24 has allocated 16,549 crore for the Ministry of Electronics and Information. So about 40% higher uh, capital outlay has been seen in this budget. The budget for FY23 had assigned 14,300 crore for the IT sector. So this shows the budget aspiration to boost the ever growing sector. So this sector is the, I would say, it is a very much strength of this country. India is called the IT hub, providing so many IT services. Huge amount of foreign exchange actually come from these IT outsourcing services, KPO, BPO services. So I think this is a ever-growing sector, and it is a very good thing the government is trying to improve this uh, sector. The government has allocated 3,000 crore for the Indian semiconductor mission in the Union Budget 2023-24. I think you have heard earlier about the semiconductor crisis. Semiconductor is the structural and functional component of most of the IT equipment. So if semiconductor, uh, if we can manufacture our own semiconductor, there is nothing better than that. So if I talk about this mission, which will be progressive towards domestic manufacturing semiconductor, which is one of the most important ingredients in the hardware and IT goods, and it will reduce the foreign dependence, right? To further augment the digital payment capacities, the government has allocated rupees 1,500 crore for the promotion of digital payments in the budget for 2023-24. The blueprint facilitates in the budget of 2023-24. Uh, the blueprint facilitates banks in designing a healthy digital payment ecosystem, promoting digital transaction in all sectors of the economy. So government has come up with this e-rupee also, so which is right now getting so much hype. Gradually it would be one of the important ways to transfer money or facilitate money transactions. Talking about the UPI, the Bhim UPI, which is very popular, this UPI ecosystem is very very efficient in India. Even foreign countries are also using this Indian technology uh, in order to have their digital ecosystem of payments ready. So this is one of the very important successes that India saw up till now. So right now you'd be able to hear so many news about this digital payment, and this would be improved again in much more efficient manner in the latter future. Talking about the next point, budget 2023 introduced national data governance policy, which will create a large repository of Indian data sets. This data could be from government or private entities and will be accessible to the research and startup ecosystem to enable information innovation. So, the national data government policy has made a great emphasis on transparency, accountability, and ownership in non-personal data and data set access. So, data is the new fuel, and in order to properly uh, uh, provide this kind of values, transparency, accountability, ownership, this repositories, these policies are being framed so that proper usage of data can be done. Okay. Now, talking about the next point, the government has allocated 3,000 crore for the Indian semiconductor mission in the Union Budget 23-24, which will be progressive toward domestic manufacturing conductor that we have already covered. I think this has been repeated. Talking about the next point, this has been repeated. Okay. Talking about the next part, uh, yeah, misses. Uh, I actually have some more points. Actually, the person who has framed this has repeated all these points. Sorry for that. Talk about the misses. The FY24 budget has, however, drastically reduced funds for promoting manufacturing of electronics and IT hardware under various schemes like the MSIPs, the Electronic Development Fund, etc. So this is one of the misses, and there has no discussion on high attrition rate in the sector. As you know, IT sector's major challenge is high attrition rate, high employee turnover. So there should have been some discussion regarding controlling this high attrition rate. But yeah, uh, maybe this would be discussed later. But in this budget, there had been no such discussion regarding that. So budget was definitely in favor of the IT sector with intense reforms and innovative prospects. India, starting from 2015, have been very much conscious about technological development and increasing export potential. And this budget added another milestone. Okay, right now it come to the statistics that I forgot to show you. See, the direct tax collection net of refund stands at 12.31 lakh crore as per the recent provisional data of January 2023, which is 19.55% higher than the net collection for the corresponding period of last year. The collection is 86.68% of the total budget estimate for direct tax in FY FY 2022-23. After adjustment of refund, the net growth in CIT collection, corporate income tax collection is 18.33%, and personal income tax collection is about 21.64%. So this is obviously uh, a good thing. Okay, right now I am going to the next and the last part of the video, keynotes of technological development in budget. So I've already discussed about IT, you know, whatever changes or whatever improvements have been done in the IT sector, but there are some more points that I'm going to discuss, which will actually facilitate your idea about how India is changing and what are the opportunities coming up for us. So the first point that I have already talked about is the digital payment. So it has continued to find wide acceptance. In 2022, this showed increment of 76% in transaction and 91% in value. So fiscal support for this digital public infrastructure will continue in 2023-24. Even it will get foreign demand. Our India will actually export this digital payment system, this UPI mechanism to uh, outside of this country, and that will obviously generate huge foreign exchange reserve. So this is a very huge success for this uh, IT segment of this country. A central processing center will be set up for faster response to companies through centralized handling of various forms filed with field office under the Companies Act. So Companies Act may there are very much uh, you know uh, long litigation, long compliances. Okay, so many compliances. So in order to have a faster response, in order to provide faster handling of forms, a central processing center would be set up. So you can understand the government intention to increase efficiency regarding compliance. So compliance is something that is something which is a very time taking process. So government wants to see, in the taxation also the complaints had been made much easier. Right now in this area also where the legal compliance is considered is concerned, a central processing center will be set up with the help of technology in order to provide faster response. Talking about the third point, National Financial Information Registry will be set up to serve as the central repository of financial and ancillary information. This will actually facilitate efficient flow of credit, promote financial inclusion, and foster financial stability. So this you can understand how effective is that. So this repository word you can understand, you can hear in many areas in this budget, because integration is something that government wants to do, and that is why this repository word is coming again and again. Okay, next, digital ecosystem for skilling will be further expanded with launch of a unified Skill India digital platform, so that free education can be provided, free technical skill can be provided through this digital ecosystem. Nextly, 100 labs for developing applications using 5G services will be set up in the engineering institutions to realize a new range of opportunities, business models, and employment potentials. These labs will cover, among others, applications such as smart classrooms, precision farming, intelligent support, transport system, and healthcare applications. So AI, machine learning, all these areas are to be explored. very much intrinsically. So these labs are being set up so that this can be done. Okay, talking about DigiLocker, it is one of the, again, one of the very important innovation of our country. So DigiLocker, an entity DigiLocker will be set up for use by MSMEs, large business and charitable trust. Right now, it is only in the personal level, and nextly it will be also set up for MSMEs, large businesses and charitable trust, so that they can keep their documents secured and properly organized. For efficient administration of justice, phase three of the e-courts already, two phases have been run. So phase three of the e-courts project will be launched with an outlay of 7,000 crore. So it is related to e-court. Okay, so everything is becoming digital. You can understand the psychology of the government. Three center of excellence for AI will be set up in top educational institutions. A national digital library for children and adolescents will be set up for facilitating availability of quality books across geography, language, genres, and levels, and device agnostic accessibility. Okay, device agnostic accessibility means it can be played in any device, be it mobile, be it tablet, be it smartphone, anywhere, be it computer, anywhere it can be accessible. So integration of technology and education is also being seen. Digital public infrastructure for agriculture. Now see, agrotech is also being implemented. So everywhere you can see the tech word is being introduced. Fintech, agrotech, edutech. So this is the only future in order to become par with the rest of the world and make our country reach a $5 trillion economy as fast as possible. So digital public infrastructure for agriculture will be built for open source, open standard, interoperable public good. This will enable six inclusive farmer-centric solutions through relevant information services for crop planning and health, improve access to farm inputs, credit and insurance, help for crop estimation, market intelligence, and support for growth of agri-tech industries and startups. So government is actually encouraging tech-enabled businesses. So if you're coming up with tech-enabled businesses with clarity of thoughts that you can actually disrupt the market and solve whatever problems existing through the help of technology, using the help of technology, then obviously government would help to set up the business and promote you. So I think you understood a lot about it. And obviously, if you see, as a new startup, if you are aspiring in order to come up with a startup, see, earlier budget talked about drones. I think this budget had also talked about drones uh, in many ways. Okay, in agriculture, how to use drones, in surveillance, how to use drones. So these are the things which are right now hype. So if you are having the idea in order to transform or disrupt industry through technologies like drones, agri-tech, okay, using AI, okay, helping government by through the execution of whatever ideas the government has, okay, you can actually have a lot of opportunities in the market. And Indian market is right now growing uh, like anything. Okay, so if you talk about the recent apprehension in the countries like America or England, where the industrialists are warning people that financial crisis is going to happen, so don't invest in luxury goods. The financial crisis, even if it comes in all those developed countries, it will actually maybe, I don't know exactly, but I think for countries like India, which has played a very good governance during COVID times, tackling so many infected population, okay, and then come up to a position from where there was the like about minus 23% GDP to right now it has again come up with a balanced growth. So I think India has a very much potential, and it is right now moving at its best uh, you know frequency and amplitude. So I think if people like us would understand this psychology, what the government wants to actually incorporate, and what are the ideas, the positive ideas that they want to present, and if we um, have our conscience activated and have ourselves upgraded with the relevant skill, and then exploit all these opportunities that are coming in front of us, then obviously we can transform our India and we can actually proceed with much more acceleration towards being a developed towards being a towards the position of being a developed country from being a developing country from so many years. So I think this will obviously help the country to grow much faster. So this is all about today's video. I hope you have liked this video, and if you have liked, don't forget to like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe Swami Shanti, because we are coming with much more interesting content. And I'm gonna also share about my experience in my articleship, and uh, much more important beneficial videos would come with regards to CA Inter, CA Foundation preparation, BCom honors preparation, regarding college admission, and also like this current affairs related videos that will actually provide, that will actually give you benefits with regards to knowledge that you're gaining. So for today, this much, and goodbye. See you soon.